Welcome everyone to the Predictive Playbook. It's Friday afternoon, about 20 of 4 Eastern Standard Time. As you can tell, I have a new shirt in the wardrobe. Actually, that's not true. It's a very old one. It was bought when the Sixers won 11 games in 2014. So I'm part of the process. But more importantly, I have my good buddy and pal from Houston, Texas, a Houston Rockets fan, Auston Wang, in the house. Welcome to the show, Auston. How's your week?
It's going great. Thank you. I like your shirt. I'm a big fan of Daryl Morey. Ever since he went over and became the president of basketball operations over there, I've wanted to follow him and support him as well. So I'm halfway rooting for your 76ers, and then I'm supporting my guy James Harden out there too.
Awesome. Yeah, they might collide.
Yep.
Later on, clearly in the NBA, the series. I guess the series that's in question is probably Atlanta and the Knicks. But Dallas taking 2 at the Staples Center is mind-blowing. As you know, the Clippers were one of 4 teams that were top 10 in defensive offense and defensive efficiency. And it's just mind-blowing that truly Luka Doncic is the guy that is responsible for the 2 wins. It's a matchup nightmare for the Clippers. And even though Kawhi is a tremendous defensive player, for whatever reason, it is not working. So, as always, we'll take it one game at a time. And, let's start with the series here a little bit before we get into the betting systems. Which series? I mean, obviously, I think the Bucks series is over with the Heat. I think the Sixers are going to go 4.
The Nets should take care of business too in 4. I'm anticipating that will be a sweep. I think the ones that are competitive are the one you mentioned earlier, the Knicks and the Hawks. That one's going to be. I think that one's probably going to go to 6 or 7. I think the Nuggets and the Trailblazers still is up in the air. I know yesterday was really disappointing for the Trailblazers. And as a Trailblazers backer, I was, watching Austin Rivers just go to town and hit all those threes on him in the fourth quarter. It was crazy to see. But no, I still think the Blazers can come back and make it a series.
Yeah, I think so too. Tonight it'll be interesting to see the Clippers and the Mavericks. There's actually a betting system I have. We'll just do that first. We'll do that very quickly, and then we'll move into your slides. So here we have the Clippers and Dallas, and then on a winning favorite of no more than 4.5 points in a non-divisional matchup. The underdogs coming off back-to-back upset wins, which obviously Dallas is, and the dog, which is Dallas. Clippers are now minus 2.5 after opening at 1.5, has the lower win percentage in the matchup. 39, 21, and 2, 65% last 20 years, 19, 9, and 1, 68% the last 10 seasons. It all tells you, at the end of the day, bet the Clippers tonight and make the series 2-1.
I like that, John. I know you have Clippers futures. I have Clippers futures as well. I had Clipper futures last season, and I'm ready to die on this hill. I'm going to continue to support the Clippers, like you mentioned earlier. It's just mind-blowing how disappointing they've been after finishing the season with top of the NBA in both offensive and defensive metrics. They got a complete squad with scorers and great defenders. They added depth with Batum, with Ibaka, and they're still not able to get it done. They're still disappointing. And Doncic is a huge part of that, but no, I'm going to support the Clippers to bounce back and continue and make it 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, it's going to be really incredible to watch because how do you stop Doncic? We must have talked on the Manny's Pub show that airs at 4:15 every day. We must have talked for 45 minutes on this matchup and specifically what changes if you were the coach. What differences would you put into play, and are you going to risk Kawhi having to defend him for the entire first half, taking away from his offense?
Yeah.
So it's a big mystery to me.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like everything they've thrown at him, he's just. It doesn't matter whether it's Marcus Morris, whether it's Pat Beverly. They haven't been able to stop Doncic at all. But I think they're due for some regression in the way they've been shooting, because they've just been lights out. I mean, 17 3-pointers in game one at a 47% clip, 19 3-pointers in game two at a 53% clip. I mean, yes, Doncic is amazing, and he's been getting some incredible support too. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been awesome in this series, and Porzingis, he hasn't played. He's played pretty well as well. So yeah, definitely getting that support from all the role players and supporting cast has been huge.
Yep, no question. That's exactly why I think it's a mystery what's gonna happen tonight. I will be betting the Clippers. I'll make that pretty clear right now. I put the betting system out there, and I have other stuff too that supports them. And you could tell me, Austin, that hey John, they just won by 10 points, and I wouldn't be surprised. You could also tell me that they're down 3-0, and I would not be surprised. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Well, really hopefully they turn it around, because they keep tricking me into believing in them and just do nothing but disappoint. So hopefully they can get us a W tonight.
I think they will. I definitely think they will. And I know you have, I guess, 4 betting systems for the NBA playoffs to show us, and I'll be sharing them here. Well, actually, you'll share them, and then I'll put them on the screen. So here we go.
All right, let's see. All right, so I just wanted to recap this one. This one's not active on any games, but this is one that we discussed last time, where large favorites of more than 5 points off a loss in games 2 through 5 are 56, 30, and 2 against the spread since the 2011-2012 season. So this one is supported by the zigzag theory, and it was active on the Clippers and the Jazz in game 2. And of course, as we know, the Clippers, as we discussed, the Clippers lost that one, but the Jazz went ahead and covered. So this system is 1-1 for this season's playoffs. Just wanted to point that out. Going on to the next one. There it is. This one's the similar debunking the zigzag theory that we discussed. So underdogs are 4 more points off a road loss have gone 27 and 53 and 2 against the spread. That's 33.8% since the 2015-2016 season. So this season it was active on 3 games in game 2 to fade the Wizards, Celtics, and Heat. And it went 0-3 against the spread, which is, well, it won all 3 of them, since we're looking to fade these teams. And it's going to be active this weekend on 3 games as well. First of all, tonight to fade the Celtics against the Nets, and then tomorrow to fade the Wizards against the 76ers and the Grizzlies against the Jazz. And
all of those make sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially
I'm really in favor. Go ahead.
Especially the game tonight, Celtics look like they're done. Without Jaylen Brown, they're a shell of what the team normally is.
I totally agree. And with Kemba Walker, he's going to play tonight, but he's not 100%. So it's really Jason Tatum all on his own. And look, the Nets looked rusty in game 1, no doubt about that. But they whipped themselves into shape for game 2. They looked really sharp in game 2. They shot over, I think, 52% from the field as a team. They had 3 players score 20 or more points, and Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, James Harden. They're going to be missing Jeff Green, but it's kind of interesting to me. I'm thinking and I'm hoping that Steve Nash experiments with Durant at the center position, and that would open up all sorts of disruption and frightening situations for the Celtics defense. And I just don't think they match up in any way, shape, or form with the Nets. And I felt that The 7 point, it opened up at 7. It's gone up to 8.5. But yeah, I definitely thought that was a little low. I had it more at around 9.5. So I'm definitely looking to back the Nets. This system is in favor of that as well, to fade the Celtics. So yeah, that's one of my biggest plays of the night.
Yeah, I think it's you don't play it or you play the Nets, and that's the end of the story. And then the other ones are tomorrow, I believe, right? Saturday?
Yeah, tomorrow. Those are tomorrow night, the 76ers and the Wizards, and the Jazz and the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and you'll find this funny. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I had my first ever 10-unit release on Sports Memo. They
Nice.
gave me the ammunition, Austin, and as nervous as hell as I was to do it, because I always worry somebody's going to look at it and think, oh my God, this is a lock, and then bet way over their head, and then they have a sucky Memorial Day holiday because they did something stupid and above and beyond my control. But it won, and it was on the Sixers. And the whole, I do that sentiment with Twitter, where I take a Python app and it goes through 4,400 tweets looking for stop words, which is a repository from MIT that I got a hold of. And it creates a sentiment, much like you would have bullish sentiment or bearish sentiment in the marketplace, the same thing. And it was so negative on Philadelphia, mainly geographically, the tweets were coming out of the Philadelphia region, and I looked at some of the media articles, and it was Ben Simmons this, Ben Simmons that, and it was 100% negative.
Interesting.
So he had 15 assists, 15 rebounds, 6 points, 3 for 9 from the field, and was 0 for 6 from the free throw line, and missed, I guess, 4 of them in the fourth quarter. And that's what made everybody irate. I mean, he is 62% from the free throw line, but he does so many other things that are not in the box score. And just wanted to let you know that there's only 5 players in the history of the NBA that have ever played a playoff game and had 15 or more assists, 15 or more rebounds.
Okay.
5. Other than Fat Lever, with all due respect to him, the other guys are legends. So I did a little work on the database like you do, and wouldn't you know, Ben Simmons, in a home game, coming off a home game where you had 10 or more assists, 27-4 against the number. 27-4. So
That's
between
amazing.
that history and how negative the sentiment was, it immediately went from 5% to 10. But that was the reason. That was the trigger that got it to a 10.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome. Yeah, that is crazy. That's a great stat right there.
And then there were some others too. I did coming off a game where he made 1 or 0 free throws. That was outstanding. And then the combination of 15 assists with 1 or 0 free throws. I mean, they all were outstanding. I mean, you just couldn't argue with the bounce back.
Right.
And it really wasn't a bounce back. They won the game.
Yeah, exactly. Convincingly, yeah.
Oh, it's Philadelphia. What are you gonna do? They profit from it is what we can do now. With that kind of stuff.
Exactly. No, they should be able to finish the series pretty easily and get some rest for the next. Well, the next
absolutely.
one will also. You'll be happy to see this one. This one I was looking at angles again for the Celtics and Nets, and it's a little bit repetitive with the one that we just talked about, but I wanted to see how teams performed after a double-digit loss. So this one basically explains home underdogs off a double-digit loss are 11-32-1 against the spread, 25.6% since the 2016-2017 season. So all these teams, they got blown out. You'd think they'd come back and play a little tougher, a little harder the following game, but nope, they usually are not still continue to be unsuccessful, and that will be active to fade the Celtics tonight. And then the rest are tomorrow night. The Grizzlies, the Heat, and the Wizards. So another angle to help support the Nets for this evening, and some ammunition if you like the Bucks, 76ers, and the Jazz tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is good stuff. I mean, this is Auston is one of the best guys with the SDQL database at sportsdatabase.com and also killersports.com. And with all due respect to everybody that the names that are on there, I haven't met all of them, but I'm telling you, Auston is very, very good with getting creative with the queries, but not, backfilling it, for lack of a better word. We always talk about the P value, and Auston, the guys on the show want me to call it the JR value because the P value isn't appropriate to say at the pub. But, the JR value is Z-score on steroids and tells a person how well are these parameters correlated. Is it just dumb luck, or are they really working together to produce these results? So that makes it easier, at least, to put these things together. But I would think all of these have very strong P scores, P values.
Exactly, yeah, and I think what you said matters a lot. About kind of putting parameters together, and you want to make sure that they make logical sense, and they're not just random parameters and variables thrown together to get the result that you want. I mean, you always want to, if you find a good system, be able to explain and understand the logic and the psychology behind it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it has to make sense.
Right.
Like, I don't know if this one's actually active tonight. Let me just take a second here on my... No. Well, yeah, that's the one I... Well, this one actually, this supports the Clippers, but it's a good example of one that does not have a good P value to it. It's a previous matchup loss. Previous game was a loss as a favorite. The game before that was a loss as a favorite, which the Clippers did.
Right.
And the current line is between 3.5 points on either side of pick.
Okay.
So the last 5 years, it's gone 29-17 for 63%, which sounds great, but the P value is it's weak. So I really don't like pay attention to it, other than I keep reminding myself I should take it out of my my library, because sooner or later it's not going to do well. That's what the P value is telling me, but it does support the Clippers tonight.
Yeah, the one I'm showing right now it seems like it's very similar to the one that you had just discussed, where teams have lost 2 consecutive games as favorites and are favorites in the current game, and since the 2009-2010 season have gone it supports both against the spread, 16-5 against the spread for 76.2%, and then the one that I liked it more on was the total. It went 18-5 to the under since the 2009-2010 season, good for 77.3%. So yeah, not a huge sample size, not a strong Z score there, but something that I like to support the under. Both teams, like I think you mentioned earlier, play at some of the slowest paces in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think there should be some regression to the Dallas Mavericks 3-point shooting, and as well as some sense of urgency and some more defensive intensity from the Clippers, now down 0-2. There's do or die for them, and I sense a low scoring game. I don't sense the 124 to 120, 127, 1 to 121, 250 point game like they had last game. I see a lower scoring game in this one. So this one supports the under for the Clippers and Mavericks game, but it also supports betting on the Clippers to bounce back after 2 losses as a favorite.
Yeah, and they're I guess you could use the parameter of seeds in the playoffs too, and maybe that filters it a little bit more. But that's a solid system by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've often wondered, what is a 2 seed? Well, how many times has a 2 seed been down 2-0? I mean, that's something pretty easy to do. But I do know the answer to that question. Actually, it's 7%. So 7% you have a 7% chance of winning a series if you lost the first 2 games of a playoff 7-game series.
Okay.
Overall, but it's a history lesson if you think about it, because that could have been the 2 seed against the 7 seed, and the 2 seed. Well, no, they would have been at home. Pretty much no matter what, it would have to be back-to-back upset wins on the road to be down 2-0.
Right.
In the situation that we're talking about, with the higher seed. So I imagine the number is even worse for a 2 seed that's down 2-0. It's got to be not good.
Yeah, the Clippers are the 4th seed. This is the 4th and the 5th seed.
That's right. Yeah, I was thinking of the Suns.
So those are the 4 systems that I've got today.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's well, the games that are being bet are on those slides, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good thing for people viewing this show, that you just watch the video and get the picks off the slides. And I don't think there was one game we disagreed about. I think it's interesting, the Clippers game. I would think it has to play to the under for the Clippers to win.
Yep.
But that might be too much logic. They got to slow down all of Dallas's offense somehow. In the Knicks-Atlanta game, I'll mention this. The Knicks have an offensive rebound percentage of 27% through the first 2 games. Granted, not a large sample size, but that's a monster number for a playoff game, where a team is getting 27% second chance scoring opportunities off of missed shots. And, I think there, too, if Atlanta doesn't get that straightened out, the Knicks just might come away with a win tonight from that. So it's an exciting time, right, Austin? We're going to have upsets. We're going to have favorites, crush the inferior dog. We're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It's hard to have a pulse on that game. The Hawks have been money at home, 23-13 against the spread. And the crowd at the Madison Square Garden was truly amazing. And while it definitely did their job rattling the Hawks, I think it put a lot of pressure on the Knicks as well to win in their home court. And now pressure's off. They're carrying a lot of momentum from that amazing second half. It's going to be a great game. I mean, my power ratings and my numbers are very high on the Hawks, and they haven't been at full health all season long. And now they're healthy. I think they can get the job done, in my opinion. But I don't have a super strong opinion on that game. I've got a slight lean to the Hawks, but I'm definitely looking forward to that game.
We just got a comment in the chat room. We can answer this one, and then I guess we'll let you go for the weekend. But make sure you check both our Twitter feeds, because a lot of times we're both pretty active during games. Not always, but I think tonight speaking for myself, there's a real good chance I'm going to be doing in-game on the totals, like I love to do. It's just like trading the market. It's fun, and it has been highly profitable to date. I always hedge when I say that, because I'm afraid the NBA betting guys are going to hear me, and then I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to win another game for a month. I did that with remember the Oral Roberts. I tweeted that, hey, with a minute to go, I just made a plus 650 on Oral Roberts down 1 with a minute 10 seconds to go to Ohio State, and Oral Roberts just won. And then I went in the tank. I went in the tank for 10 days. I mean, I didn't lose them all, but it was ugly. Not what you and I would come to expect from a week of betting. I was getting clipped off backdoor covers. I mean, it was just, it was the NBA betting guys. There was nobody else. They were, bring me back down to earth.
Yeah, no, yeah. The last couple
So
of
we
weeks have been similar.
to answer T's in the NFL here, we do think the Clips are going to get the win. I think, right? Are we in agreement on that? And I had the
Yeah,
betting system that showed it, so
absolutely.
that's all good. Well, I guess we'll call it here, Austin. I'm really glad that appreciate your time coming on the show like this every week and sometimes twice a week. And I think we were Monday and Fridays was the best schedule. So if it works for Monday, let me know. And people that are in the chat room and listening to it archived, this is the reason why you want to watch this show and the reason why you want to come back. Because this guy gives us good betting information and good systems, and they work, and it's just awesome having him on the show. So let's all have a highly profitable evening tonight and a great Memorial Day weekend. And on behalf of Auston Wang, myself, the Predictive Playbook, Wager Talk, and SportsMemo.com, may all the wins be yours.